How are you doing, everyone? With me, TheDomotaku, here today to talk about the new Akiba's Trip. Akiba's Trip? Strip? I don't know, you're gonna say it either way, or the animation episode 1. So, the animation, so I didn't really expect to see an actual animation for Akiba's Trip, because for one, the premise for Akiba's Trip is really out there, right? It's stripping people, that's for the title, right? But, in a sense, stripping vampires, so it's not all that bad. Anyway, who just happens to be girls. Anyways, so when I heard that there's an Akiba strip animation, I was like, you know, it's technically possible. I thought they were really basing it off the game that I own, like, or, you know, the game that is mostly renownedly known for. And, you know, I thought I was like, cool, I could actually see that, because for one, this is a JRPG, so of course you could technically make this into an anime. I mean, it'd be pretty easy. There's like multiple endings in this game, and the story, in a sense, is not that long, so you could easily go for like 12, maybe 24 episodes. It seemed pretty structured. I was like, okay, yeah, that's perfect. But then when they released the stuff and the trailers and the images, it was like, oh, some different characters. So I was like, okay, so it's so fresh. And after the first episode, I must say that's quite different from the game, but it's still amazing for people who played the game, because they do a lot of like hit Easter eggs and just like tidbits and stuff like that in there. So, for one, the animation has a lot of different things that I noticed from the game, but I don't mind at all, because it's just a whole different thing exactly from the game. You know, one of my big dreams, or just like something I would like to see, was like the characters from the game appear in the anime. And at that point, I don't really see it possible, or maybe it's just like, it's not entirely impossible, I just don't see it happening anymore, because it's just like, it's a whole different cast. They would probably have to do it really differently, because a lot of things are different right now in the anime. And I'll explain those differences right now. So, you know, afterwards, you saw how, in the end, you know, our main protagonist, of course, same thing, Otaku, who just happens to be some wrong place at the wrong time, gets turned into a vampire, or in a sense, a vampire, and then starts stripping the hell out of girls and whatnot. Akiba's Strip in a nutshell. Anyways, so I'm gonna explain the differences a little bit from the game and from some of the things I noticed in the anime. And if you haven't played the game at all, then you know that's fine. There's nothing that different in the game, I guess. It's just things I noticed, or just like little details and stuff. So for one, in the anime, they call the vampires, or the creatures, bugged ones, and that was a little like what you call it? Really intriguing to me, because for one, it could be that this is a prequel or something like that. It's like, oh, they didn't have like a confirmed name for them in the series yet, because in the game they're called synthesters, and you know, so you can call them whatever the hell you want, but you know, they both work the same way in the anime and the game. They attack people, strip them, they die, or no, also that doesn't work. So towards the end of the anime, or the first episode, when you see our main protagonist awaken to his vampire powers, or his bug one powers, I don't know exactly what they're gonna call it in the anime yet. He wakes to them, he starts stripping the hell out of all the enemies that are chasing him in the episode. But then in the end of the episode, after he runs away with a girl, the enemies are just naked, all the girls are just naked on the floor and stripped, right? But they're not dead. And that was one of the things that kind of intrigued me, because in the game, you know, you strip the enemies, they die, they explode in their little light of gas and whatnot, right? They're dead. In this one, you strip them, they seem to be, you know, they lay down on the ground like they're possessed, like they're, you know, like a parasite or something like that, right? So that's why the name Bugged One sort of makes sense, because it's sort of like a bug that would like, sort of like, you know, or a bug or a parasite, right, that takes over them, and then they act that way, like a crazy lunatic that wants to strip and whatnot, right? Or a vampire, or a bugged one. So then when you strip them, they're okay, they're fine, they're back to normal, and they're not like crazy and whatnot, right? So that was intriguing, because it's like, wait a minute, that's entirely different from the whole game. So I like that aspect. It's different from the game, you know. At least they, instead of redoing the same thing, they did something differently, where instead these synthesters, or these bugged ones, the enemies are sort of like mind controlled or something like that, or they're like not themselves. It's like a legit like sickness. But then, if that's the case, that doesn't explain our two protagonists in the series who can form the contract and kiss, and then have these abilities and stuff, right? So that's sort of over there for my explanation, but basically it. So then you have the girl who has these abilities somehow can pass them on through a kiss or a contract or whatever. And then you have the bugged ones that can leech off people and then like, you know, take control of them and then do this little shenanigans strippy thing, right? So that's interesting. I really like that. If it's different than the game, then I'll like how they at least change a few things in the thing, because it's not the same cast, it's not the same premise, it's the same universe basically. It's just the whole story of like, you know, stripping people to do stuff, something like that, right? That's basically it. They put it in here. They changed a few things a bit, so that's kind of interesting. At least that's a +1 in my eyes. And you know, lots of comedic action and stripping. Who can go wrong with all that, right? You know, it's not like I stream this on my PS4 or anything. I could get the PS4 version and just stream me stripping and shit, but that's just the fun of it. You know, Akiba's strip is like, you know, when I bought this game, at first I thought it was super ridiculous because the whole premise is about stripping people. I'm just like, is that really like it? It's like, you know, there's like a whole bunch of like debate over the game or whatever. Just like, you know, it's just stripping people and whatever. But it's, in fact, it's still a fun game because in this game, you could, like, it's basically Akihabara. You could really walk around Akihabara, and I think I like how it's really designed. Like, it's like super easily noticed. And of course, in the anime itself, you know, it does really have that look. It feels like Akihabara. Of course, it's supposed to be that way. But then I like how they implement things from the game into the anime. For the more easy example is in the beginning of the episode where our main protagonist Otaku guy is getting chased by the worst enemy in the game ever. Forget the Sinisters, forget the bugged ones or vampires. The worst enemy in the game is freaking merchants and ad people trying to sell you paintings and shit. Like, the guy is trying to get sold a painting for like this much money, and it's like, no, just leave me alone. And then like in the game you just say no and they just call you cheapskate and they walk away, and it's like, those are the worst enemies in the game. So then also they have like billboard and shit playing in Akihabara, playing the opening to the game, and I'm just like, oh, okay, see, this is awesome. Like, they have some sort of like hint to the game, so that's cool. I like it. They at least reference the game to an extent in the anime, even though it's entirely different, so that's cool. That's a +1 for me also. And yeah, and that was just the first episode. So, you know, with the first episode you get introduced to most of the characters in the game, the maid girl, the red-haired girl, and then the little sister, who, of course, like all the otaku main characters in these dang games have to have a little sister for some damn reason, but whatever. Yeah, so far that's it for the first episode. It was pretty cool. I'll check it out. It's not entirely like, I guess for one, if you liked the game, and it's cool if you like the game and you come to the anime, it's the same thing in a sense, but you know, I kind of like to see the old characters, but you know, this is still cool and fresh. I like it, except, you know, like the half hair color thing, power thing. I was like, okay, that's entirely different, but whatever. So anyways, yeah, you know, it's Akiba's strip is nothing, you know, it's about stripping vampires, like, basically, like, you know, it's nothing to it, nothing else to it, but it's entertaining at least. So anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have finally completed all the animes that I've watched this week after my sickness, and my goodness, it's not fun. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next video on the TheDomotaku channel. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because there's a lot more anime that I still gotta cover and I gotta watch for this new season of anime. And the fated day is coming soon, guys. And I'm kind of scared. And man, I'm gonna miss this thing. It sucks. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. So take care, guys. Matane, and play the game if you like this episode and this anime, because it's pretty cool. The game is freaking amazing also because you get to walk around the streets of Akihabara. It's really greatly designed. And yeah, so PS3 or PS4, there you go, guys. I'll see you guys then. Take care, guys. Matane, and don't strip anyone in real life, because that's just the anime.